He's ready.
I'm ready.
And scene. Katie.
Okay, that's too many scenes.
I was saying, I think we're ready for it.
My bad.
Hi, Katie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So who is this?
So,
Who is this?
this is Cecily. This is my partner in crime. She is beautiful, as you can tell. Things you should know about Cecily. She's got a big heart. She knows everybody. You can't go out in public with somebody being like, "Oh, hey, Cecily," or someone coming up to me and be like, "Do you know Cecily?" Like, no. Yes.
That's the same with her, actually.
No.
Who was like, "Oh, I didn't know you knew Katie." I'm like, "Yeah, what do you know about Katie?"
That's the thing. Is like, they're like, "Oh yeah, Cecily, she's so great," and they'd be like, "Katie,
No.
you hang out with Katie?"
You're like, "This is really strange.
I heard she was wild.
She is a wild one." And they're like, "Oh no." Just kidding.
Right.
So who we are together?
Who are we together?
Yeah.
Well,
Bromance.
that's a secret. We can't expose our whole self. I'm just kidding. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to be as real as we can and just to expose conversation that we might have just by ourselves. So
I feel like a lot of people want to. I don't want to. It sounds so conceited. Like they don't. It's not that they want to hang out with us. I think they're just interested in what we do.
yeah, it's because Katie puts glimpses of our life on social media, and then people are like, "Wow, you guys kind of are silly and crazy," and
Have a lot of fun.
yeah, we have a lot of fun, and so people like we just had people say, "Oh, we want to hang out with you" and whatnot, and but also like there is just like depth to our friendship, and so we want to just kind of expose some conversation that we have and just be real about certain topics. So
Well, I think a lot of people kind of, again, it sounds so conceited, but like look up to us in a way of, I don't want to say like we put on this like mask of perfection, but I think people understand that we have silly, broken sides, and then we also have this side where we kind of just not necessarily deal with it, but understand like who to rely on or who to lean on in certain times. And I feel like people look up to us for that advice or like that. I don't know. A girl once told me, and she has like, she kept telling me, "You should write a book." But she once told me, she goes, "Pretty girls often aren't nice." And I think that's one of the main reasons I want to do this. Again, this all sounds so conceited. I don't know how to make that sound conceited. But just expose some, I don't know, just some misconceptions about life and I don't know.
Yeah,
just like friendship in general.
Exactly. I think to bounce off that, like when you have grown a confidence in yourself and a satisfaction with like who you are, I guess, and understand your imperfection, understand like the okayness of that, I think you can truly love others around you better. And I think especially as a girl, you can start being a better friend. You can start just getting along with people around you better because there's no envy, there's no like.
That's true.
So I think with like going with what you said with that, like I think sometimes people maybe see a glimpse of that in you, or and that's why it's not conceited, but you're just hearing feedback from that. So and that's so true of Katie. Like she is so pretty, but also so beautiful inside. So that's what
I think one of my favorite compliments that I've ever gotten, and I have a friend who consistently speaks this over me, is she's like, "Katie, you are just so unapologetically you," and that's true.
That is literally.
I kind of am who I am, and I think. And this goes to show, like, the first time I ever met Cecily.
I was going to bring that up, honestly. I was like, who is this girl? She is bold.
I feel like I'm not good. Like, I'm either, like, really good at first impressions or really bad. And I don't know if I always come off in a way that I need to come off in. But, like, all right, story time.
All right, go ahead.
The first time I ever met Cecily, I was in tutoring. And she comes by, and I'm talking to a friend of mine. And I had just posted on social media, just witticism in general, about this deodorant that came up as an ad, and it was rose and black pepper. Who in their right mind puts black pepper in something that should smell good? Like, let me mix some chili in my armpits. Like,
sneeze. You said something about sneezing.
I said, do you want my armpits to sneeze? Like, who puts pepper as a smell, okay? So I was going off on this rant.
Well, and the combo, rose and black pepper.
Rose
Like, that
and
just doesn't
black
make
pepper.
sense.
Salt and pepper go together. Not rose and black
Exactly.
pepper. Like, no. And so I was going off on this rant, and I met Cecily during this time, and I thought, you know what? These people probably think I'm slightly off
so
my
funny.
rocker, which I am. And I always joke that, like, to be one of my really good friends, you have to sign this, like, theoretical contract. And I don't really present you with the contract until, like, you're too far into my crazy that you can't back out of it. Like, it's already been written.
Sorry, you're already bound to the
Signed,
contract.
sealed, delivered. Like, you are bound to me. Like, I've shown you too much weird, you can't back out.
Yeah. And my perspective of meeting her was, so again, she was in tutoring, and we were walking up into the tutoring center and walking just kind of by, and one of her friends was stopping to say hi, and she goes off on this deodorant story, and I'm like, what in the world? Like, who is this girl? She's a goofball. And I mean, I was just going along with it and just saying hi to her, but then she got to find out that I was also a goofball. So it all worked out. It was such a good thing.
I think the next time I met you, it was with Nate, and we had that meeting, and I was like, I know this girl from somewhere.
Yeah, we were like,
how I know her.
That's
but
exactly what I was
know
like.
her.
I was like looking over here at the across the table. I'm like, who's that girl?
I was like,
know
one, she's cute. Two, like, I need friends.
Yeah.
Three, I feel like I know you.
Yeah.
But then again, like, I know a lot of people, so I'm
Right.
like, maybe I'm just making this up. And then I got your digits. I didn't ask you. I asked Nate for them. Yes, that's how I got your number.
I didn't
So
know
I like
that.
stalked you. It's like, can I have your digits?
Wow.
Can I get your number?
No, that was it was history from there, to be honest. But that was that was a
and
good time.
then we had coffee at McLean's, and this was like at Thanksgiving. I remember this because I was headed to St. Louis that day.
Yeah.
And I was like, this girl's so cool. And then you're like, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave though. And I was like,
Yeah, I really thought like I was gonna leave at that point. I thought I was gonna be out of Lawrence because of my job. So that was it was just like a blessing in disguise to like meet you, and then to find out I was staying, and just to be able to like
and
develop
then
that friendship.
she was like, oh yeah, I'm staying somehow. I don't remember how that happened.
Yeah, it
And
was out of the
like-
blue for me. It was like in February. I found out I was getting to stay at KU, and I was like,
because I remember in
here we go.
January we started hanging out again because we were doing stuff with young adults, and then I was like, well, this is gonna suck. I'm gonna love this girl, and then she's gonna leave me. Rude.
Typical.
Long distance lovers. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
You're right.
But then you're like, oh yeah, they knew that I had to stay until you were graduated. I was like,
Must have known I had to stay till
I'm
Katie
gonna-
was graduated.
I'm gonna have a friend forever. And then we did all that young adult stuff, and then quarantine hit, and we spent every single day together.
Yeah, quarantine just really, we were like, all right, let's just make a small little bubble out of ourselves. I'll come to you all the time.
And
was
that's
good.
how it happened.
Yeah, no, it was
It was a
good.
fast.
Really, we've
courtship.
only known each other for about a year now, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, and even then, like November to like December/January, I was gone. Like I was at home.
Yeah,
And
so
you were
I mean, it's
home
really
too.
been, I would say it's really been less than a year. So,
Yeah.
wow, that's really crazy.
And I
It's
feel like
cool.
I've known you my whole.
I know, I would say it's really cool how that happens. Like you can meet people and you're just like, wow, this person is real. I also think that's like a huge topic, and hopefully we can get into that like within our podcast, but like just the power of being real, like people connect to that. And I think again, like what you're saying is like how, you know, like the confidence that you can find in yourself, and like the realness to be able to speak, you know, just messy, broken life stuff is so cool. And
I don't remember what it
it's easy
was,
to do that with you.
but I read it somewhere that like you can only love others as much as you like love and understand yourself, and I feel like that's so
That's
true.
so
Like
true,
there are
100%.
times when I don't want to say that I don't love and understand myself, but like
It's
I
harder.
trust you enough that I can like spew it onto you, and then you kind of like decode it and like send it back
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, for
And I'm
sure.
like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's so true. I think we've learned that just in the last year, 2020. Like we're handling it the best we can, but also there's been times where just like,
Are we?
I don't know if we're handling it the best we can. I'm just kidding. I think we're handling it the best we can. Doesn't mean it's going the greatest, but in the sense of like truly understanding like you know how to navigate through things. It's hard sometimes, but the realness is really like the vulnerability and like authenticity. Like it's really powerful in itself. So.
And I think that, I don't know, I feel like this year, I don't want to say that it's been rough, but I mean, it's been rough for everyone, so I shouldn't lie. It's been rough. But
It's
like,
been rough.
I have found like there's just such a freedom in being messy and vulnerable.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, people relate to that.
Yeah.
Because you can tell them, like, hey, I'm a mess, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think that's kind of like where I was going with wanting to make that its own topic, because it's
Yeah.
so hard to. I think this year made it okay to admit that you weren't doing good,
That you're
because you
not
could
okay.
put it on. You could put it on Corona.
Because
like, everybody's
doing
not okay. But actually, I think moving forward, if we can just learn to be vulnerable and real about that topic, I think we will create like
Yeah.
stronger relationships. You know, so I think that's awesome, and I think that's something that's actually really hard to do. So
So what do you feel like our goal for this is? Like, we've talked about it, but like,
yeah, I think our goal is just to have a real conversation. Again, going back to that real word, but also just very unfiltered, very much so like topics that people, you know, they might be controversial, but like things that people want to talk about or want to hear our opinions on. And not like saying that we know the answers or we have truth to like certain topics, but we just want to kind of share like the way we think about certain things, especially like tough topics, or honestly just have a good conversation about just trading thoughts.
yeah. Well, I feel like, I guess for me, the goal of like Unfiltered is just like to be unfiltered. One, like, we don't necessarily have an agenda. Like, we have topics, but like, I feel like, you know, a free for all. Because for me, at least, being a perfectionist or the type 1 that I am, if you get like an agenda in front of me or all these like certain points that I have to hit, then I just become like
Well, and I don't do that well.
Robot.
Like, I don't talk well in those. Like if I have a certain thing I need to say, I'm just mumbling all over the place. So I think that's, I like that. But what do you think? Like, who's like our list? Like who do you want to like tune into this?
I feel like obviously girls, like college age girls, because I don't want to say like, or even just young women. I don't want to say that middle school, high school, college was hard for me in terms of, I don't know, struggling in a lot of things, because I've just been so determined to be who I am all the time. I've never not been me. I think
Enneagram 1?
Yeah, just in Enneagram 1. Like, I've always been okay with who I am, and not that I did it the best always, but I think that, I don't know, I have ideas to lend to people and just girls in general, because I feel like whether it's body image or social media or like how you should be, I feel like girls have not to downplay men and like how hard it is for them in today's day and age, because like girls are mean, like
There are some girls that are rude out there,
jerks, to be completely honest. Some of them are really mean, but I don't know, I feel like girls just need to be given the option to like be who you are, because no, like we can all see through the facade. Like, that's not who you are. Like, your social media is cute, but like you're fake.
Well, again, I think that's like going back to realness and offering wisdom like that we've learned through. I think, not saying we are wise. Like, I don't think that we're out here trying to like speak that we're the most like. I don't.
That's smart.
Yeah, I'm not even like. I just think that I've learned through things that I want to pass down and like offer to other people who could be the same age as us, or could be younger, or could be older. Like, we might have been through different experiences that can help people, and I think that's, just something that I want to pass along because. Yeah, it's realness. It's seeing through some of that stuff that we struggle with. We see through it because we struggled in it. Probably.
I think that's an important point to bring up, is that, and me and my random like taglines, like your test becomes your testimony. So like, I feel like we can relate to a lot of people because we've gone through a lot of things. Yeah. Like, maybe we look perfect or that we have it all together on the outside, but like the minute you start talking to us, it's like, we can relate to all these things because we've been through them, whether it's like relationships or families or like mental health or like these different struggles. Like, we've been through them, and like, it sucks, but at the same time, it's such a privilege that we've had all these struggles, because now we get to talk to people that we might not have gone to talk to before or relate to, or just love on it, essentially. So
just empathy, and even empathy for feelings that people are going through. Like, maybe I haven't gone through that, but I felt that, so I can understand. But one thing I was just thinking of is, like, you told me one time, you're like, everybody's coming up to you saying you're awesome, Cecily, like, they know you, like, whatever, and you're like, but I really know, like, I really know that you're, whatever you said. I wish I could I'm terrible at
I
retelling
have
stories,
said that
but you,
so many times to people.
you're like, but you really don't know how, like,
do you really know Cecily?
yeah, which is so funny. It's just like the idea that
people think they know you.
yeah, the idea that people think they know
Yeah.
you, and just that everybody is, like you said, they're imperfect. We all struggle, and it just sometimes appears that, I guess, where you got it all together, but we don't. So, but it was so funny. She came up to me. She's like, "Oh yeah, they asked if I knew you, and they're like, oh yeah, she's so great," and you're like, "Yep."
She has it all together.
Yeah, it was funny. I think that's
Well, I think
that's so true.
It is so true though, but like people look up to you and it's like they know I swear I always say that I have like all these personalities and I really do, but it's like I have teacher Katie, I have like regular Katie, I have business Katie, I have like tutor Katie. I have social media Katie, like I have like they all have things in common and like if you look at all these, they're all authentic, but it's like levels.
Well, that makes sense though. Like,
It's like a game.
Well, I guess like,
Level up.
well, it makes sense like in the sense of like professionalism versus like
Yeah.
personal life, and like you're always fully yourself, like you said, you're unapologetically you, but like your professional life is just like gonna look different than personal life in sense of your communicate, how you communicate and how you but I mean even that, like the way you even email your students is totally like Katie. It's not like this fake square.
You mean like not everyone quotes Tyga?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like she's over here quoting Megan Thee Stallion on her freaking emails, which the students would love. I wish I was your student, to be honest. But yeah, so it's like you have all those levels, but like that's, I mean, also not to be mistaken, you're still fully Katie and within those, which is cool. And you've, like you said, you found the freedom to do that, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I feel like we're pretty cool.
maybe as long as we think so, I think that's
what I'm saying.
honestly,
Like, I
as
think
long as
we're pretty cool.
Exactly.
I don't really care what other people think of this.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're cool.
Yeah. So specifically with a podcast, you feel like, well, going back to the podcast.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So do you feel like you want, like, so you said specifically probably younger women, and I agree, but that's definitely people that we're going to relate to the most and have like the most insight on. But do you like, what topics were you kind of mentioned them earlier, but what topics were you kind of wanting to hit with that?
I think body image, that's big for me, especially in this day and age of social media, and everyone can be picked apart or photoshopped or whatever. Just, again, authenticity, vulnerability, being you, unapologetically. And kind of just like I've always said, it's not an immature, like, I am who I am, and you can deal with my sassy attitude. No, like, in a mature way, just be who you are. And I think, I don't remember who said that. I know somebody has said this before, my grandma, but and I've
But her grandma.
But my grandma has said this multiple times to me, and she always tells me, Katie, you can be the sweetest, juiciest peach in the world, and there's still going to be somebody who doesn't like peaches. And so I think like being okay with like not everyone's going to love you. Like you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. Like you can still love them from afar and be kind to them, but at the same time, like you don't have to be best friends with everyone. Like you don't owe that. Like that's exhausting. Like I couldn't imagine like having to show like who I am truly like on the level that you're at to like multiple people. That is like that's a lot.
That's a lot. That is a lot. But and then along, like it's not as clever as what your grandma would say, but along with that, it's like people they might not like you because they don't understand like the experiences you've gone through or see your heart and your intentions. And I think sometimes people see like what they see and make just like a judgment on it. And it's and that's like another thing we could talk about.
Judgments,
is just like what.
Like how pretty girls can't be smart as well.
Yeah, I mean, just, outside judgments and what, like, why that shouldn't be a thing because we truly don't understand everything that people have gone through. But, I'm not going to be as witty as her. Also, reverting back to the beginning, I never said anything about Katie. So, I did mention a couple nice things about her. She's kind of nice. But, all of her witty and clever sayings are 100% Katie. So, that is something that is... Again, it goes to her teacher level, her personalities. Each of them is going to have a clever and witty personality. So
that's true.
that's definitely Katie. And again, also Katie knows everybody too. So
I feel like if I don't know somebody, you do, and
or we both
vice
know
versa,
them,
or we both know them. Just we didn't know that.
And then we
both
meet
knew
them because the other person knows them,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
now we know everybody.
It sometimes scares me though when they're like, "Do you know so and so?" I'm like, "Mm-hmm."
What did you know?
Or they come up to me and they're like, "Oh, I've heard of you," and I'm like,
What did you hear?
Yeah. Or like, "Oh, I saw you on so and so's social media." I'm like, "Oh, what was I doing?"
The reason Katie is saying this is not because she does anything over PG-13, but it's because she dances everywhere she goes. So she's probably like, okay, what did they see me doing? Dancing.
That is true.
It's like
I am so wiggly. Like I don't know what it is, but like there's like these little.
And then there's me. Not wiggly or flexy.
You're strong. I'm like a bendy straw, and you're like this strong tower.
Oh goodness.
But I think that goes to show like some of the things, like some of the qualities that you have, I don't have, and some of the qualities that I have, you don't have, and it just it makes for a really good dynamic duo.
It does. I think. We think. That's all good.
We're biased.
Yeah. That's all good.
Again, I think we're pretty big.
Right. But what were you going to?
I was gonna ask you. You put your hand out, yeah. Sorry.
Is that me to wrap it up?
No, it was.
Oh, I thought you better wrap it up.
You
And I was
had
like,
your hands out, and I can't not. Sorry,
Yeah.
I can't not.
I know how to do it.
But one, what population do you think that you want to reach, or like where's your heart at? And then two, like what other topics do you think?
Well, I do already. If you, never mind. I was about to be sassy.
You should have been.
Shucks.
Little
Well, I
moments.
did also. You guys know that I already mentioned I agree with your young women.
Yeah, you did
So
say that.
that's number one. Thanks for listening.
You're welcome.
And the second topics, I think again, I'm so passionate about the realness and authenticity,
that's true.
just people being themselves. And again, that's what you were kind of alluding to too. But so I'm gonna love to talk about different avenues of that, like what that looks like in your personal relationships, your romantic relationships, like professional relationships, like where all this like comes together. I think that's really important. And then honestly, I think we could both agree, like social media and the dynamic of that. Just like obviously there's money to be made there. It's really popular right now, but then also how do you not get stuck in that and like the comparison game and everything. And I think we can go into what it looks like to have a faith in the midst of all this.
Yeah, for sure.
And just like what that looks like in our personal lives. I don't know. We talk about.
I was just gonna say, I think you bring up a good point though, and I mean, I've alluded to it a little bit, and you just reminded me of it. Like, there's all these different versions of Katie, and then there's like all these hats that you wear, and so both of us are in like different like situations at all times. So whether it's like me being a professor and a GTA and a student myself, and like working in like these different realms. So whether it be like the rec or like when I was in athletics, or you in athletics, or us at church and stuff like that. Like we know different people from different realms, and then sometimes they mix. And I say that like being a GTA it's as if I have like all these little lines that I should or shouldn't cross. That sounds bad. But they're blurry. Like
professional you're saying, because there are going to be people who cross over.
Because there's going to be people, like there's people that started off as my coworker, and then they were my student, and then like now they're my coworker again, and now that
right.
And so it's like, where do I draw the line? Or I've had people who were my friend first, and then they were my student, and it's like, what do I do with that? Or if you're my athlete and then my student, and then it's like, can I be friends with you? Can I not? And I know that you run into that all the time too, because it's like your athletes want to be your friend because you're so relatable, but it's like, I don't want to say how far can you take that relationship, because that sounds sexual. My mind's always in the gutter. But like I don't know, like what can you do with this person and what can you not? Like how far can you take that relationship before it's like, oh, well, that's unprofessional.
Yeah.
But like, is caring about somebody unprofessional?
No, I would love to go into that topic, because especially being like both of us are younger in the settings that we're in a college setting, so there's a range of ages, and so I've coached athletes older than me. I've coached athletes the same age as me that are very similar to me, and it's like, hey, I want to be your friend, I want to hang out with you, but that doesn't, you just can't do that. And what that does look like when maybe that crosses over. So I'd love to make that a topic too. And honestly, there's so many different avenues, and we'll be open to suggestions
Yeah.
too. But
What do you want to hear us talk about? Like,
exactly,
if
we'll
you
go
could-
on tangents
if
like this.
you could ask Cecily any question,
What would it be?
what would it be?
Yeah, so I mean, we will totally open it up for that.
Yeah.
And but we definitely just wanted to give you an introduction to who we are and what we're gonna do or what our ideas are.
And again, it'll be completely unfiltered because
Yes.
one, it would take hours to produce something that was like of picture perfect quality with us too.
Oh,
because
Kelly wouldn't even be able to be creative.
It's a
with
blooper.
me, no way.
and I'm just a
I'll
string
just
of
stumble in-
bloopers. Like
stumble in all over words.
It's 90% bloopers, 10% good content, and it would take a long time to
Yes.
make like a string of good content.
Right, so we're just gonna post as is, and we
I
have
mean, we come dressed well too.
we have our fuzzy socks on.
I could coffee in hand.
I don't know why we didn't today. That was my fault.
I think I've also had way too much.
Yeah, that was
My
awesome.
blood type is coffee, but at the same time, I mean, you saw my snap today about how many shots of espresso.
She was pouring in like 5 espresso shots in her cup, and I was like, that was like a 16-ounce cup
There's
in
an espresso machine at my work,
So
and I just one button and
it all. Yeah. Anyways, I was cracking up. I was like,
Love
what
a
in
good
the
shot.
world? But so yeah, we're super excited to get this rolling, and we just want to be just totally ourselves, open to topics, open to conversation, and we just want you guys to get a glimpse of what's in our heads.
what it's like to like know Cecily from my point of view.
Yeah,
Also,
that too.
I mean, they'll get they're not gonna get like the full access pass, obviously.
Yeah,
Nor will I let that happen.
that's hilarious. That's so funny. We'll let you in a little bit. A little
bit.
That's our point of this.
Well, I know. I'm just saying like a little bit, but like a lot of it would be like,
As much as we can in a podcast.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good way to
Well,
say it.
honestly, I'm guessing like initially it'll be people who know us that tune in, so that's good. They'll already have a glimpse of who
They'll
we
probably
are.
already know who, and then they're gonna see this and be like, oh, I didn't know they knew each other.
Yeah, there might be some of that a little bit, but so yes.
Cecily, Emily, no. If I had $1,
If you had $1 every time, okay. Anyways,
I could buy a lot of coffee.
yeah, seriously, a lot of coffee. But anything else you want to tell our listeners? No. What's your clothing?
That's all, folks. Is that Looney
God,
Tunes?
I thought that you were gonna. Come on.
Sometimes,
No, that is pretty good. That
You
was
know
good.
how I am. Like sometimes it just. Here's the thing. It it comes really quickly when it shouldn't.
Exactly, and when you
In the worst moments, but I say it anyways because it's so funny that I want to laugh.
and that's
at
when
it.
people are like, oh, this is who Katie is. We're like, yes, she just has like the wittiest thing to say all the time, and I'm like, that would have taken me a month to think of that.
I did have you rolling today. I was rolling
she
myself when I was
texted her
texting
something, and she texted me something crazy back. I said something else, like laughing at her, said something simple. She texted something witty back. Like it was rolling, at least
We're here
10.
for the wits and giggles.
Yeah, I was like, it was. Anyways, it's
Yeah.
like this is what you're gonna get. So that's a good thing.
I've been told multiple times that we should have like a GoPro that follows us around
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah.
And you know, to
should,
be completely,
not really me.
I mean, to be completely honest, I wouldn't be opposed just because like then people would really know like she's not lying.
She
Like
really
this
does
stuff
this stuff.
really happens to
She
her,
really does.
and she really does this stuff to other because people sometimes are like, no, like you wouldn't do that, and I'm like, yes,
You did, and you would.
but I did, and it's not on accident. Like I chose to do that.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, you don't care.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I think that's just a quality. I can make joy out of anything.
Yeah, you really can. That's a great thing.
Sometimes.
No, that is a really good thing. But yeah.
All right. Well.
Till next time, folks. Is that what you said?
So yeah, we just
Until next time.
discussed the WTFs of what the podcast was gonna be.
What does that stand for again?
The Y, I forgot what the T is, and the future.
The target.
Oh, the target.
Target audience.
Target
and then
audience.
the future.
The Y, the
Kind of our
target
ideas.
audience, and the future.
So that's all we have for today.
And
Boom.
In
day and age where everything is filtered, whether by makeup, a social media filter, or changing who you are based on who you are around, we never really take the mask of perfection off. But that mask is a mask, an illusion of fake perfection.
Vulnerability is hard. It's the act of being who you are, unapologetically, and embracing the risk of being disliked.
What could hurt more than being denied for who you truly are? But an unfiltered life doesn't mean you get to do and say as you please in an immature, I am who I am and you can deal with it type of way. Living an unfiltered life means showing courage and giving yourself the grace to embrace all your imperfections, show vulnerability to others, live with authenticity, and become unapologetically you.
Unsubscribe from the life of shoulds. We're just two vulnerable, unfiltered girls in a filtered world. The blooper reel to your highlight reel.
Oh my God!
That was bad.
That was good.
That was good. Are you okay?